Hey, welcome to Module 4 of the Nourished Runner Coaching Program. This week we are going to be talking about conquering your cravings for sugar and mastering your metabolism, okay? We're going to kick your metabolism to high gear this week, and this is for you runners out there because I know you're hungry. I know you're eating all the food, which is amazing, but I want you guys to tune into that hunger, and we're going to learn to fuel you up so that you stop craving all the sweets and all the sugars and all the junk food and get you craving all the real whole food that is going to nourish your body, power up your running, and help you rev your metabolism. So this is a 2-part series, so make sure you watch this one. You get the download guide with some homework at the bottom, and then we've got the second video, which is going to be on revving your metabolism. So let's start with some really good news, you guys. Understanding your cravings and conquering your sugar addiction has nothing to do with willpower and everything to do with balancing your brain chemistry and a few other really simple strategies that we're going to work through this week and get you tuning into. You need to understand your cravings. You need to understand where they're coming from, why they're happening, and then how to eat properly to kick those sugar cravings to the curb so you can feel your best and run your best. So cravings, there's something that all of us struggle with at times. You're not alone. Don't think you're alone out there. And runners, like I said, we're hungry all the time. We're pushing our bodies and we are like physically hungry, right? And cravings can be triggered by many things. There's a lot of reasons that you have cravings. Sights, sounds, aromas, environment, stress, hormonal imbalances, boredom, loneliness. Right? All of those things can trigger us to eat. A perfect example, a couple examples, a typical trip to the mall where you walk by the pretzel stand or the cinnamon roll shop and smells so good and oh, you just want a cinnamon bun, right? Or a lot of people have stress. Food is one of the most overused stress relievers in the world. And another one is boredom, right? Nothing to do at the end of the day, you're bored, so you eat, right? Really common things. Again, you're not alone if you feel that way, if those are any of your triggers. We're going to try master those cravings this week. So understanding your cravings, you guys, the better you understand your cravings, the more equipped you are to deal with them effectively. A lot of it is about mindfulness, knowing where they're coming from, why they're happening, and then stopping and being mindful of your eating. It's not realistic to think that you're never going to have sugar, and that's not what I'm telling you. But the reality is most people are consuming way too much sugar, because when we talk about cravings, you're not often craving like green beans or kale. You're craving cake and ice cream and sugar and chips, right? So all that stuff that makes you feel guilty and heavy and lethargic and foggy. And often it's all the sugary stuff, and sugar's in so many of the foods that we eat. We usually aren't even aware of it. Breads, crackers, sauces, chips, all of them can be quite addictive, like actually addictive to your brain. We're going to talk about 8 different ways to deal with sugar cravings today and other junk food habits, and you're going to begin to understand those cravings and why they're not your fault. And again, every day we're inundated with foods that are high in calories and low in nutrients. We're busy, we're on the go. Fast food is quick, it's easy. Packaged food and junk food are everywhere, but we're paying the price with our health, with our energy, and with our waistlines, right? So when we consume these processed nutrient-void foods, our body knows it's not getting what it wants, so it craves more. It craves more nutrients, but many times we're just giving our body more food, right? We just get the sugar cravings and we're busy and we're on the go and we're eating empty calories and we're still lacking in nutrients. So as runners, it's really important that when you're hungry, you feed yourself food full of nutrients, and that's where we get into the mindfulness of eating as a runner. Your body needs food, like it needs nutrient-dense food. And when you're not feeding it that and you're feeding it stuff that isn't full of nutrients, then you're missing out on that nutrient opportunity. You're fueling it with nothing. And then you end up running on empty and you're just behind playing catch up all the time. And that's really hard on your body. A little fact about sugar, you guys, the average American consumes about 150 pounds of sugar per year, 12.5 pounds a month, or at least 3 pounds a week. That's insane to think about, but it's true because think about it, sugar is in almost everything where we don't realize it. It's hard to imagine that much sugar even. And you might think, you're not average because you really don't eat that many sweets, but the majority of sugar we consume is hidden in processed and fast foods, cereals, snacks, white flour products. It's even in salad dressings, sauces, beverages. Even products labeled healthy are loaded with sugars. And I don't want to tell you this to scare you, but I want you to become more mindful. Don't use this as something to be fearful of or to feel guilty about. Just use it as education. Education is your power. It's your way to break through this and set your body up to kick the cravings and boost your metabolism and run faster and stronger, okay? Sugar makes us feel happy, energetic. You can even calm us down for a short period because sugar releases the brain chemicals that make us feel good emotionally, temporarily. Following that initial rush of sugar, the excitement and comfort that comes crashes, right? So this goes back to the blood sugar story as well. Same thing, right? You eat the sugars, the insulin level spikes, you feel good, and then it crashes, and you end up feeling worse than you did before the sugar. And then you're still hungry, so you want more. Your body just wants to keep fueling that sugar craving, that hunger, right? And it can be a really hard cycle to break. You're not gonna break it overnight. It's gonna take time and effort and mindfulness and work. But you can do it, and we've got strategies here, you guys. And here's why those cravings aren't your fault. This is not going to be new to you because we talked about this last week, and we're going to talk about it again. You already know that you're not eating enough, and eating too many of those carbs messes with your blood insulin levels, and that ramps up your cravings. But there's something else to keep in mind too. Those food companies out there, they're hiring food scientists to help create foods that taste good and that with textures that are hard to resist. And it's their job to find that perfect pleasure point of the food that is being manufactured so that you want it, that you crave it, that you love it, right? And that's hard. Those are hard addictions to break. And of course, there's many other possible causes for your cravings, not limited to stress, nutrient deficiencies, hormone imbalances, fluctuations in blood sugar levels, mindfulness, boredom, like we talked about. All those things can be causing you, but it doesn't help when the food that they create is just made so perfectly that you just want it, right? It's tasty, it's good, your brain likes it, it's addictive, hey? But the more you learn about your triggers, the more you understand this, the more you tune into what you're eating, what you're cooking, how you're dialing it in the kitchen, the more conscious decisions you're going to be able to make to change that negative cycle, okay? Quick note, if you do you have cravings that persist and you're worried or you're not feeling any better, please consult with your doctor to determine if your nutrition deficiencies or your hormone imbalances may be the cause. Many people are deficient in some nutrients, even though you have a healthy diet, or if you don't have a healthy diet. And it's common to have hormone fluctuations and imbalances at different stages of life. So you got to make sure that you talk with your doctor, because I am not able to treat you one-on-one or do any testing with you. So if you're very concerned, make sure you talk to your doctor. So let's get into ways to reduce cravings, guys. Some of these you're going to remember from last week, which is perfect because we're just going to do them again. I'm not going to give you a whole bunch of new information, right? First thing is to realize that all carbohydrates turn into sugar in your body, not just sugary sweet treats. So some of you may have a sweet tooth. Some of you may not have a sweet tooth. You may have a salty tooth, like potato chips, pretzels. That's me. I'm a salty person. I love salty, but that still means I'm craving sugar because those foods are still 100% carbohydrate foods, right? And I think as runners, when we're dehydrated and we're running in the heat and we're sweating, our body also wants that salt. So we want both of those things. And it's still going to spike your blood sugar, setting you up for that blood sugar roller coaster, okay? So there are good carbs, veggies and fruit, which turn into sugar in your body. So you want to be eating veggies and fruit. You don't want to cut out your carbohydrates, but there's just ways to eat them without throwing that blood sugar out of whack, without raising that insulin level. And we're going to talk about those next. Number 2, don't skip meals and try to eat 3 meals per day, starting with breakfast. This is the same as last week when we were talking about macronutrition, right? This is why macronutrition is important, because when you eat this way, you're gonna control those sugar cravings. You're gonna control those blood sugar levels. You're going to set your body up to burn fat, because remember, when you're bringing in, when you're spiking the insulin with sugar, your body is storing fat. It's using that immediate energy source, that immediate sugar, to fuel you. The rest of it's going into fat storage. So if we don't skip meals and we eat 3 meals a day with breakfast, we're keeping things even, right? Skipping meals, you think you're reducing calories for the day. Problem with that, by mid-afternoon, your hunger hits with a vengeance, and you give into those temptations. It's harder to say no. Your willpower is down. And that's where willpower, you feel like it's willpower, but it's not willpower. It's that you skipped your meals and your body is starving for nutrients, okay? But by then it's too late. 3 meals per day throughout the day ensures that those meals and again, make sure those meals are based on your macronutrient nutrient portions. Often sugar cravings are a response to needing energy. By eating those balanced meals throughout the day, your energy level is going to stay up, reducing your cravings. And so number 3 tip is, and we kind of got into this last one, but anytime you eat a carb, pair it with fat and protein. So those 3 meals, all those snacks throughout the day need to be not just carb-based, which it's so easy to just grab carbs, but that's setting you up for those insulin level spikes and lows. But if you pair every meal with a carb, a fat, and a protein, you're going to feel much better. That low fat diet craze years ago, it put fear into people about eating fat. And I love the analogy one of my friends uses, Laura, who we did an expert interview last week, where she says, green vegetables don't make you green. Like, you'd never believe that. But we believe that eating fat is going to make us fat, and it's just not true. Fat is a really crucial macronutrient that provides you with the essential fatty acids that you need. It helps you with the absorption of the vital nutrients and vitamins and minerals from your food as a source of, and it's a great source of energizing fuel. Fat slows down the absorption of sugar into your bloodstream, so you don't get that huge surge and crash. It keeps that insulin level low and balanced, okay? It also keeps you full and sends that message to your brain telling you to stop eating. This is the brain chemistry part that I'm talking about to help you stop your cravings. So be sure to focus on healthy fats like butter, real butter, avocado, olives, coconut oil, nuts and seeds, not the processed damaging ones like margarine, vegetable oil, Cool Whip, chips, that kind of thing. And then you also want the protein in there, because protein is your muscle builder. It's a neurotransmitter, which is a brain chemical that determines whether or not you have sugar cravings. You need adequate amount to keep your sugar cravings at bay. So really key to eat a carb, a fat, a protein. Again, if you go back to the 28-day meal plan, it gives you, there's a chart in there that gives you good carbs, good fats, good proteins, and then again, good veggies to eat, because you need lots of veggies. Keep in mind, to make up for the lack of fat and taste in their products, food companies add more sugar. So those low-fat products have lots of sugar, which is causing you to spike insulin and hold on to fat. They're also not very satiating. They don't keep you full because they're only carbs, empty carbs, and then you end up consuming more calories, eating more food later on, binging, and it really sets you up to struggle. So make sure every meal that you have, those 3 meals, is a carb, a fat, and a protein. Okay, so snack between meals is tip number 4. Snack between your meals. So tune into your hunger. You don't have to snack. These are not rules, but eat your breakfast and then you have your dinner, your lunch plan, sort of 3 to 4 hours away. But if you get hungry, tune into that hunger and eat a snack. But again, make sure that that snack is a protein, a fat, and a carb. Don't just grab an apple, which is good for you, but it's still going to spike your blood sugar and make you hungry, right? So if you're hungry, feed yourself. Have an apple with some almond butter, some nuts, okay? Pair every carb snack with a protein and a fat. Hummus and veggies, guacamole with whole wheat pita chips, stuff like that. Those are great snacks. They're gonna make you feel full. They're gonna give you the nutrients that you need from them. They're gonna hold you over until your next meal. And as runners, you might be hungry. It depends on your training cycle. Like if you're training for a marathon, you are going to be hungrier. So fuel yourself right. Feed yourself snacks, but make sure they're wholesome, hearty, real, and full of nutrients, okay? With stable blood sugars, you're gonna boost your metabolism too throughout the day. When you're feeding yourself with these 3, again, because you're not spiking that insulin, you're not having as much insulin, your body is going to be burning fat throughout the day instead of just burning off that sugar constantly in that cycle, right? So if you're hungry but skipping snacks, your body's gonna learn to live during starvation mode and slow your metabolism down. So if you're hungry and skipping snacks, your body's going back into that starvation mode to slow your metabolism down, okay? So eat snacks when you're hungry, but you might not be hungry. Often I can eat breakfast and not eat until lunch. I'll always be hungry in that lunch. So I know a lot of people struggle after work with a snack. That's fine. Eat a snack, make sure it's healthy, and then have your dinner later, right? I mean, I know that I'm starving after school and my kids are starving after school. Tip number 5, don't bring temptation home. I know this sounds simple, but it's true, right? Like, if you want to make good choices, keep good choices in your house. If I put ice cream and chips in my cupboards, I will eat them. So I don't put them in there. And it sucks for our families who don't like it, which is the trick. And you're going to have to deal with that with your own families in your own ways. But if my junk food is stocked with sugary cereals, cookies, cakes, ice cream, chips, we all eat them. So we keep our kitchen stocked with really good nutritious stuff. And often my cupboards aren't that full. My fridge isn't that full because it's all real food that needs to be cooked and prepared. My family's just used to it. If we want a treat, we go out for a treat, which keeps it not as often, right? Not snacking on it all day. And it goes for my health and for my kids as well. Tip number 6 is get a good night's sleep. Are you guys getting enough sleep? This is going to be a whole module, but for now, just think about it, you know. Sleep has so much to do with healthy eating and achieving a healthy weight and managing those cravings. Think about the difference when you have a whole night's sleep. It's hard to know sometimes too, after having kids, I'm not sleeping well for a long time, but I know for me, there's a period of time where I didn't sleep. Then I'm tired. I can't push my workouts. My runs hurt because I'm running with bad form and alignment. My body's not able to push the way it wants to. I don't have the willpower that I need to eat, right? I'm tired. I get more stressed. I'm more exhausted. And that stuff all triggers more food binges and less mindfulness. You're just so tired trying to get through the day, right? When we're tired, we get stressed more easily. We can't push our workouts the way we want to build build that lean muscle. And the American Journal of Human Biology shows that short or poor quality sleep is linked to obesity by deregulating appetite and increased energy consumption. Our appetites can increase when we're tired, which makes sense, right? So studies show how signals from the brain, which control appetite regulation, are impacted by sleep restrictions. There's actually brain chemistry that changes when you're not sleeping and your body is hungrier. Your body's craving more energy, and we get more energy from food, so we end up eating more, and we usually make less healthy choices because we're tired, we're stressed, we're not getting our workouts in. It's like this negative cycle, okay? So sleep is really key to managing your sugar cravings. Tip number 7 is satisfy your sugar cravings with healthy sweets, like healthy treats, right? I give you guys lots of great recipes that are sweet, but not unhealthy. They still have the proteins, the fats, the carbohydrates in them so that you are satisfying a sweet craving with something nutritious for your body that's going to still help you regulate those blood sugars. That's where portion control comes in, because sometimes you'll make, I think I have this great coconut. Check out the membership site under the healthy snacks, power snacks I think it is, and I'll put in the cocoa peppermint coconut oil bark. It's so good. It's coconut oil and raw cocoa and peppermint. Is so good, but you know, you want to actually eat the whole tray and then you're talking portion control. So have a nibble on one of those and you're going to feel great. You're going to kick that craving, but you're going to feel good. Tip number 8, ask yourself, are you hungry for food or are you craving something else? And that is a reality, right? Like, we can be eating really well and exercising really well and still struggling with those binges, especially after the kids go to bed. It's so common. What are you craving other than food? And be honest with yourself. I know for me, I used to be really lonely at night, right? I'm really lonely when I'm lonely, when I'm bored. It's what made me start this business. I was bored. I didn't have anything to do, so I would eat, okay? And then my cupboards would be full of crap, and I'd buy all these bottles of wine, and then I'd eat crap and drink wine. So that, for me, was emotional, truly emotional eating, that I just needed to fuel myself with other things that had nothing to do with food and exercise. They were just things that I was missing from my life, right? Because sometimes those cravings are caused by things that we feel, things that we're missing, and we use food to fill that void for us. Because like I said at the beginning, food is one of the most overused anxiety drugs, self-medicated anxiety drugs, right? And we often talk about trying to get out for exercise, but sometimes you can't with the kids. It's dark, it's nighttime, like you can't go out. So what else do you need? For me, it was personal development podcasts. It was reading books that were super interesting. Essential oils became a really fun hobby that I love to use in the evening that stopped the wine drinking, because I learned to love lavender and frankincense, and, you know, just learning about different things. Like, ask yourself, you know, get in touch with what you're really craving. That's not food, and learn ways to nourish yourself without food. This is not a quick fix, but it's just like an introduction, get you thinking, you guys, okay? And a bonus tip, stay hydrated. Most people don't consume enough water, and the dehydration leads to craving. So next time you're craving, drink a glass of water. This is where I love my lemon essential oil, or my grapefruit, or my On Guard. Like, it depends what I'm feeling, what I'm craving. Drink that, and then see if you're still craving. Peppermint water, spearmint water, amazing. So to recap, you guys, I have, you know, the 8 tips to conquer your cravings. One bonus tip: realize that all carbohydrates turn into sugar in your body, not just the sweets. Just tune in, because you're probably eating more carbs, more sugar than you realize. Don't skip meals. Try to eat 3 meals per day, starting with breakfast. Power up your day with a carbohydrate, a fat, and a protein. Tip 3, anytime you eat, every time you eat, make sure it's a carb, and pair that carb with a fat and a protein every single time you eat. Keep those blood sugars level. It's going to help with your cravings so much. Number 4, snack between your meals as you're hungry. Don't just graze all day, grabbing everything. And make sure that that snack is a carb, a fat, and a protein. Don't bring temptation home. Keep your cupboards clean. Keep them stocked with good food options. Number 6, get a good night's sleep, because sleep really, it affects everything about your mood and your ability to manage your cravings and what's the word I'm looking for? Your hormones. It messes with your hormones when you're not sleeping, and that is something that willpower will never beat. Number 7, satisfy your sugar cravings with healthy sweets. Check out the Power Recipe Guide. Any of those will be fine, okay? Just don't eat the whole batch. Number 8 is ask yourself if you're hungry for food, or are you really craving something at a deeper level? And then, of course, the bonus tip is stay hydrated. Ask me about oils if you want to get your hands on some lemon, some grapefruit, some spearmint, some peppermint. Really are fun ways to stay hydrated and not just eat more food. So remember, you guys, when you understand your cravings, the connection between what you're eating, why you're eating, and how to actually eat, you will feel more in control, and you will be better able to make the right choices to fuel your body, to nourish your body. Try to determine if some of your cravings are based more on habit, what you might be keeping in the house, and look at the best way to address that to make changes. And I know some of you are going to have to deal with husbands and kids to make those changes, but maybe have that discussion if you can. Change slowly, swap things out slowly. We don't need to feel guilty about food, you guys. That's not what this is about. I want to make sure you understand that. I am not doing this to make you feel guilty about food. I want you to understand food. I want you to understand your cravings. I want you to understand how to eat, why to eat, what that's doing to your emotional, your physical body. I want you to do the best you can to make choices that support your health and your goals. And we need to implement some solid nutritional habits as we can, right? Like, again, this isn't to make you feel guilty, and I don't want that for anybody. But I know for me, I used to be afraid of food, afraid of fat. And so I wasn't knowledgeable, and I was making the wrong decisions. And that led to feeling really, really crappy. And it led to a lot of guilt and disordered eating habits. And I don't want that for you. So take this as education. See what changes you can make. You're not going to change this overnight. This is not going to change your life in a week. These are things to think about. And you're going to see there's trends every week of things that stay the same, right? 3 meals per day. We talked again about proteins, fats, and carbs. So macros are going to carry through for the rest of this, right? We're not measuring, we're not dieting. I'm not telling you what not to eat. I'm just telling you to tune into what you are eating and what you could eat better. So this week, you guys, your homework is tune into your cravings. When do they happen? Just take note. And what are you craving and why? Are you tired? Are you bored? Or are you actually hungry because you didn't eat enough during the day? Decide what you're going to try this week. For example, try eating more whole foods during the day. Try cleaning out your kitchen pantries. Try not skipping meals. See how that helps. Pick something and try it. Create a list of things you can do instead of focusing on food when you realize you aren't really hungry. Dig a little bit deeper, you guys. When are your cravings happening, and what maybe is happening? What are you maybe feeling during those times, and what can you do instead? If you want essential oils, talk to me. They're a great void. I'm trying to put together in the membership site as well. There's going to be a section on personal development where you can pop into there and work on some personal stuff at a deeper level to help you deal with some of those emotions and clear them and dig into them a little bit. Okay? And I'll see you in the next video.